Hello and welcome back to round 5 of the Seattle-Washington Regional Championships. We're going to watch Ricky Gao play against Jazmyn Crouch. I don't know what either of them are playing, though I do think I just saw metal energy in Ricky's hand, which would indicate the metal deck, and it looks like Jazmyn's playing some Virizion variant. Two Virizions tells me she's probably playing Virizion Genesect.
Yeah, she has a switch and everything too.
It looks like Ricky is just on Metal Energy DCE, so I'm going to assume he's playing the Bronzong Dialga Aegislash deck. And yeah, the G Booster confirmed Jazmyn's just on the regular Virizion Genesect plan.
She's got a nice start here. Assuming she can find a Genesect with that Sycamore.
She has an Ultra Ball in her hand too.
Okay.
There's a Steel Shelter from Ricky, DCE on the Mewtwo. And there's an N. I don't know what else is in her hand. Maybe she only has the 3 cards. But if she has any extra cards, I would have just gone for the Ultra Ball there
same.
to put the Genesect on the board. She didn't though, because you only have 8 cards. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 3 in hand. So she would have had to discard the Sycamore. In which case, I agree with her play. So we haven't seen a whole lot of the metal deck. Paul Johnston won with it at Washington States this past year. But besides that, it's been popular today. But besides that, in the history of the tournament, I don't think we've seen that many here.
Yeah, it doesn't. It seems like people find it to be a risky play. But
it just has a very, very weak early game.
Yeah.
As you can see here, Ricky has nothing but a Mewtwo on board, no Bronzor, which is obviously a little bit unfortunate, but certainly not totally insane. Just kind of drew poorly.
Also doesn't have a great Flareon matchup, which has been pretty popular in the Northwest.
Yeah,
so.
that's a great point. It's one of those decks. I like the deck a lot. I like those kind of things, the electric S cards, and I played it in a few online videos, and it's interesting. The late game is almost unbeatable, but the early to mid game is just real loose. And when you play against a player like Jazmyn here, who's getting a pretty ideal setup.
Yeah, it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, not sure the rest of her hand, so she doesn't have a supporter. Things could get rough, but she got the turn 2 Emerald Slash with the band. She's going to get knocked out.
She'll be able to knock out the Mewtwo, though.
Yeah.
Afterwards. And Genesect is really nice against Bronzong because it can just KO them fairly easily.
Very true. And yeah, Ricky's forced to just Sycamore and okay, he does find the Ultra Ball. 2 Ultra Balls in fact, to get another Pokemon. And I imagine he's in a tough spot here because he can get a Bronzor because that's what he needs to actually start going. But yeah, he just gets the Dialga because I just don't think he has enough time. Just has to have it. Not even a strong proactive card, just a card that can suck up some damage at least. And he does have the Metal DCE in hand, so he will be able to successfully attack with it next turn. Takes 2 prizes. And we do see a Plasma Energy.
Yeah. Even if she has the G Booster, I would obviously go for the Mewtwo knockout here.
You would go for the Mewtwo knockout over the...
Yeah.
So there's the Plasma Energy. Let me go ahead and Red Signal. I think that might actually just... Well, I think if I would have only liked to see her Red Signal if she had the knockout this turn, because of Chrono Wind now is going to prevent that Genesis from attacking at all.
I think that was actually a huge misplay. Like, now Mewtwo continues to be a threat.
There's a Sycamore. Ricky, a little bit of fancy play. Yeah, so now, because of Jazmyn's choice, she now has that Dialga, which is going to prevent this Jazmyn from attacking, and the Mewtwo, which the Mewtwo, has 90 hit points left, not exactly a huge threat, but still can get a few attacks in.
It just relieves a lot of the pressure from Ricky. That's never what you want to happen. For Jazmyn's side, at least.
Definitely. Ricky feeling confident enough to just megaphone off that muscle band, not even waiting for a G-booster or anything. She's going to be sorely disappointed if she doesn't realize she can't attack here, but yeah, she just passes the turn. Not sure that I love that play. I'm not really sure what that accomplishes. This deck runs Float Stone. I guess she's just trying to buy a turn, but without being able to knock it out there, I'm not...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Not a fan of using that. Especially because it was a supporter drop. It wasn't even a red signal, you know?
Yeah. And now Ricky's basically into his mid-late game setup.
Well, attaching the DC to that other Mewtwo, or to the first Mewtwo, just reckless. And does he have any medals in there?
No.
Doesn't look like it. So yeah, those early decisions from Jazmyn I haven't been a huge fan of. Definitely haven't gone her way. I mean, I guess there is a world in which she's just trying to stall there. Like, that's what her aim is just hoping that he doesn't get the Float Stone there. But man, now it's just turning. We said Jazmyn had a fine start, and now Ricky has 2 prizes left. She has 6. She did draw an end, which is going to help immensely, but
now she has no energy on board, while Ricky has a ton and threats.
Yeah, and I think, oh man, I mean, the Mewtwo, the Mewtwo's not going to be able to knock the Virizion out next turn, pretty much regardless of what happens. So she does have a little bit of time, but with no energy on board. Wow, she's drawn no Pokemon as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So you can see Jazmyn counting up the damage and just deciding to go ahead and scoop it up. Ricky Garrett's going to go ahead and take game 1. So yeah, not sure I think, Jazmyn, Ricky had a pretty good start there, or I guess he had a pretty good few turns. His actual start was pretty bad, but I think Jazmyn really made some subpar decisions there and kind of let the game go Ricky's way. I understand why she made them, but I just think if she would have taken a little bit more time and thought that out, the reasoning didn't exactly line up. And I know Ricky already has his invite. I have to imagine Jazmyn's pretty close. She's top 8 at the regionals before. Like, that gets you a decent amount of
I think she got a top 8 at the States or something too.
Really?
Yeah, earlier on, but I'm not sure. I don't know how she did at Cities either.
Yeah, and sitting at 4-0, these players, I imagine, are going to have to probably finish 6-1-1 to make the top 8. But points do extend down to top 32.
It's possible a 503 can make it, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to run the numbers.
Not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ricky told me when we were speaking earlier that he's already earned his invite, but he's just he's choosing to travel to more events because he didn't know about national stipends until last month, so he's just trying to figure it all out now.
Yeah.
And Ricky's from Vancouver, British Columbia, and the BC players are actually, I don't know, they don't have that many cities there. They have more than before, and they have their fair share of league challenges as well, but it's really difficult for these players to earn invites off the smaller events.
Yeah, they basically have to come into Washington.
Which is a whole trek in itself, and it's definitely dedication. Ricky laying out his prizes in the weirdest manner I've ever seen.
He's worse than I am.
I mean, at least yours makes sense. Like, Jazmyn gonna take her mulligan. Now, Jazmyn's very young too. I think this might be her first year as a master.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
So.
She's been playing for a while though.
Yeah.
Like 3 or so years now.
Yeah, definitely.
That Deoxys start is pretty rough. You have to burn a switch on that.
Yeah, and she...
It's also fairly irrelevant in this matchup, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. I mean, I guess for something like a Dialga, let's say, Deoxys plus Muscle Band allows Jancy to do 130, and then the next turn Virizion can do 50 to knock it out.
True.
So there's little things like that, but definitely not one of the premier matchups you're looking forward in, I don't think. When there's a Sycamore, so no energy. She doesn't find it off a Sycamore is going to be insanely rough.
Yep.
She finds a Plasma.
That's fine. It's not a big deal to attach a Plasma to a Virizion.
Oh, she has a Grass
Oh,
as well.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, on turn 1 it doesn't really matter. There's, you mean it's slightly worse from Enhanced Hammer, Team Flare Guns, things like that, but as long as you can find the Grass on your second turn. She also did draw the switch, but she's sandbagging it, which I think is fine. I don't think there's any way for Ricky to really start attacking this turn, but something like Escape Rope could hurt her, Lysander, you know? Ricky did have 2 ends, actually.
Yeah.
So choosing the Sycamore instead.
That's not the best, but, you know.
He couldn't have known. I think he's fine discarding the ends because of Versus Seekers and such.
Oh, yeah. He has a Mewtwo as well, I believe. It's a Compressor.
And hitting the Bronzor there is nice. I'm interested to see what he does with this Battle Compressor because, you know, you'd think you just go ahead and discard metals, but he doesn't have any metal on board or in his hand, and there's not that many.
Yeah, there's already 2 in the discard, so.
Yeah. Gonna go ahead and get Keldeo, a card he never wants to play. AZ, a card that he would much rather be able to Versus Seeker back. And then I imagine either another supporter or if there's something.
Another dead card?
Yeah, just something else in his deck. I don't know his list, but.
Just those.
Alright. Gonna take the 2. I'm not really sure how right that is, because, like, I guess by removing a supporter, you are lessening your chances of drawing one.
Yeah.
You just get to be more choosy with the Versus Seeker. Considering dropping the Mewtwo, it just ships the turn back. And now Jazmyn should be able to execute her game plan here. She does have the switch.
Yeah, this man actually has a pretty solid start here, so.
Yeah. She's also playing one of the better arts of switches.
The best one.
No, that's debatable, but it's a nice art, I'm not going to lie. And she even has the Colorless Machine, which will speed up that Genesect by a turn. And I mean, I think if she can get the G-Booster on this Dialga next turn, assuming Ricky just commits enough energy to it or doesn't really do anything big, it could swing things her way quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. She may even just look for the KOs on the Bronzongs, but I'm not sure. There's a G-Booster too.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm in Jazmyn's spot and I have the ability to knock out a Bronzong, I definitely do so. It's been, you know, pretty clear in these sorts of decks that it's Ricky taking a minute to. He's probably trying to see if it goes around Aegislash.
Yeah.
It's been pretty clear in these type of decks that how you battle them is you defeat their engine cards.
Right.
You know, I think taking out the G-Booster Dialga is fine. Like, it's, well, you know, put her way ahead, but you definitely, back when Eels was a thing, Hydreigon, any of those decks, like, if you take out the engine, they're left without a whole lot.
Yep, same with like Aromatisse and stuff.
Absolutely. I guess that's a more contemporary example. And I do believe that G-Booster goes through Aegislash.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes through everything. Ooh.
There's the Lysander.
It's a nice Chrono Wind, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Gonna go ahead and do 60 and no attacking for the Genesect next turn.
It's so good against Genesect, since Jazmyn has to find switches to get around it.
Yeah, for sure. Flare Tool on the Mewtwo, not super relevant, I don't think, but it's fine. Ricky has a lot of tools in his deck, so if he wants to play around the Flare Tools, he can. Like, even just dropping a Photon and it just Lash isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Just slows you down a little bit. And Ricky does have a VS Seeker in his hand for next turn. Jazmyn gonna go ahead and look at his discard pile.
Yeah, the Deoxys actually does end up being relevant here, since if Jazmyn's able to promote the Genesect after retreating, she'll kill it with a Megalo Cannon instead of G-Booster.
True. Oh yeah, I didn't consider basically the reverse of the interaction we talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many times just because basically all of the EXs have between 170 or 180 hit points. Like, there are a lot of times where that 10 can matter. Interesting enough, these two decks, some of the only two in the format playing, not playing Hypnotoxic Laser. I guess the Flareon decks don't typically play that. Most of the other decks do. So I think everyone will be happy to see that card rotated. Very powerful, very oppressive, very frustrating to play against.
Absolutely. So she is able to get the switch. And that's going to put her in a nice spot.
Switch off the Skyline. And I definitely would like to see her just retreat the Virizion now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
there's
knock out with Genesect.
Really no reason to attack with Virizion here.
It's hopefully that's what she might be doing. It's not a terrible play. You know, it is kind of the intuitive play you want to set up your board, but I really think you need to take the knockout here. Wow, she's tool retrievering. Yeah, it's gonna go ahead and do another 70 there.
Just KOing the Dialga there puts Ricky so far behind. I don't know.
Yeah. Jazmyn's being really
she's being overly conservative.
Yeah, she's being really cautious here. And I think especially because she could have knocked the Dialga out with a Megalo Cannon, she just wouldn't have lost anything.
There's nothing on the board to threaten the Genesect.
And I don't even think the Mewtwo could have gotten there because of the Headringer. I guess he could have gotten there from a
he'd have to get like
Metal
Floatstone, Bronzong, double colorless.
Yeah.
Which is obviously not impossible, but, you know, not super likely. And even then it wouldn't be KOing the Genesect.
Especially with the information you have. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I think that Jazmyn doesn't know the contents of Ricky's hand, and he only had 3 cards at the time.
Yeah.
And obviously we know he has a Versus Seeker, he has all these cards, but I think you can afford to be a little aggressive there.
Yeah.
Nice of Jazmyn, though, to tool retriever her G-Booster, because we see Ricky just have the Megalo Cannon in hand. Or sorry, just have the Megaphone in hand.
Yeah.
Just gonna go ahead and take the N.
Ricky is still in a tough spot here, but again, you just like don't want to let up the pressure against these slower decks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ricky is just in a position now where he can, I don't know, Dialga attach Bronzong Metal Links, retreat for free, have another Dialga up. You know, it just puts which is something he could have theoretically done if she had knocked out the Dialga either way, but now he can just sit behind. And, like, yeah, it's not great to sit on that. Like, you don't want your Dialga to be knocked out, but it's going to get an attack off. It's going to make your opponent, you know, basically take an extra turn to do it.
Yeah, especially since here he drew, like, garbage, basically. So he wouldn't have been able to respond. Of course, there's no way to know that, but...
I mean, I still think it's... You don't have any way to know that, but you still have an understanding of how, like, the likelihood of him responding.
The correct combination of cards. And the consequence of that response is not too large.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely Jazmyn being a little cautious here might cost her. Certainly cost her in game 1, though I'm not sure exactly how those decisions factored in, but... So Ricky taking some time to look through his deck.
I'm not sure why he'd discard Aegis Slash.
Well, I think his thought process is just that if G-Booster gets around it, it becomes much less of a tank.
Less good than Dialga.
Yeah, like at that point, Dialga is just a better attacker.
Yeah.
But there are some decks where Aegis Slash is just game over.
Yep.
And the particularly bad spot about Jazmyn's last turn is that she doesn't even get value from doing that because now she has to retreat and do it again. Like, she cannot attack with the Virizion. If she could attack with the Virizion if it were a different Pokemon, it would be a little bit nicer. But because of the Dialga, Chrono Wind's going to show off that attack and it's going to have to go with it. She does have the ability now to go into the other Genesect and attack with the one that doesn't have any damage on it, which is nice. But I'm not sure it's enough reasoning to make the play she did.
No. Luckily for her, since Ricky drew not good cards, her mistake won't punish her too much.
Yeah, it shouldn't. And even Ricky now, he's sitting with 1 energy on that Mewtwo, so he has nothing in his hand.
Yeah.
So he'd have to draw a DCE to just be able to attack. He could also draw a Bronzong or something even draw Bronzong and an energy, but it's going to be tough. I also think this is kind of one of the downsides of the Bronzong deck, because it has a lot of moving pieces. You know, one of the things that people like to say about the Fairy deck is that it requires a lot. Like, it's maybe the most powerful deck in the format, but you need a Mega, you need, you know, a Stage 1, you need all these things to go right. You have no real acceleration besides Geomancy, and this is not quite as intensive as that, but it still has these big, bulky Pokemon with bulky attack costs that you need to get the Bronzongs out to really make work. Like, last game was not an indication of how a game normally goes.
Yeah, if you start missing your supporters, you're...
and you don't have things... Yeah, the obvious comparison to the Dialga deck is Eels, but back then you had level balls, which are so powerful to get both your Tynamos and your Eels.
Not having a Geomancy effect is actually a pretty big deal for Metal, just because even if you're not drawing well in the Fairy deck, you can at least probably get an attacker or two going with him, so...
And also, I mean, Aromatisse is just kind of... I can't say an objectively more powerful card, but it protects you in worse situations because you can just move your energy off of the thing that's going to get knocked out.
Yep. And the Fairy Stadium is better.
Much, much better than Steel Shelter.
Yeah. Is it Moonlight Garden, I think?
Gosh, what's that called? You're talking about the old one, right?
No, the Fairy one.
Fairy Garden.
Fairy Garden. Oh,
You're thinking
that's
of
boring.
Moonlight Stadium.
Yeah, Moonlight Stadium was the other retreat one. I just combined them.
That's fair.
Oh, he gets Chorus.
Alright, some things can happen now. 6 cards.
Yeah, I draw 6. That's good.
just like an N.
If he draws a DCE here, the Genesect actually is KO'd. So, it's pretty nice.
Yep.
Although, we know that Jazmyn has the G booster still.
She didn't attach an energy last turn to that Genesect, though. Although she did get a Versus Seeker with her Skyless, so
Yeah.
she can make things happen. And there's a double Metal Links. Wow, that's huge.
Yep.
And now Ricky is pulling right back into this game. He has things happening.
Yeah, and he'll have the Dialga to respond to the following Genesect. Nice.
Absolutely. So I think you have to try and Genesect G booster here. Unfortunate that Muscle Band came out on that Dialga before the Headringer could. And now she's stuck in a spot, because I was just going to say I don't want to see her red signal there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter, because
yeah.
with the Bronzongs...
Yeah, 2 is...
Yeah, 2 Bronzongs just equals 3 energy a turn, assuming that like, you can attach 1 from hand.
Right.
Which
Or
is just a
4
big
for SDC.
Absolutely. And there's the G booster. And there's a G booster knockout, going down to 2 prizes for Jazmyn. I don't think the Steel Shelter is too relevant in this matchup.
No.
There's no laser shenanigans going on.
I can't tell what the last card in Ricky's hand is. Oh, he's just going to get a Jirachi, so not a big deal. If he's able to KO the Genesect here with Daiwa's second attack, it's a huge deal.
He won't be able.
He can.
Oh wait, he has the hand.
If he gets double colorless, yeah.
It's a big game. Looks like he's gonna get the Bronzong. He has a Versus Seeker in his hand, and now he just he's forced with a decision between an N to hurt his opponent or a Sycamore to maximize his chances of drawing the DCE.
Yep. Yeah, I
Doing
think
it that way to thin
agree
out his
going
deck
for
a
the
little bit
Sycamore
more.
here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go for it and hit it, you are 80% to win the game.
And either way, you can probably Chrono Wind, so it's not too big of a deal if you miss the double colorless.
Like as long as you draw 1 energy, you can Chrono Wind. No DCE, no DCE.
No energy.
DCE!
Oh.
The last card he slow rolled us. It's like he knew.
I'd play that Megaphone here too, just minimize the damage that Jazmyn can do. Yep.
Yeah, you might as well.
Get rid of that Muscle Band.
It's not like there's like any big Megaphone plays, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, a turn where you're not where the G booster is being left in play is huge, but. Speaking of Megaphone, I did see a player with Tool Drop in the tournament. It won Minnesota State's a few weeks back.
That's nuts.
Sure is.
Yeah.
And yeah, what can Jazmyn really do here?
Nothing.
She has a damage Virizion with 1 energy on it. Mind you,
most of our energy must be gone by now as well.
Mind you, that Dialga did have to discard energy to do the second attack, so it is going to require a little bit of work from Ricky to do much, but any sort of switch card, or just an attach and Chrono Wind. I don't know if I like playing that there, unless she's trying to go for an N here, thinning out her deck a bit. I feel like if the game doesn't end next turn, Ricky will play another attacker, which will be better suited for that.
Yep.
Not the biggest deal, probably, but So yeah, this game swung from heavily in Jazmyn's favor. I think that knockout of the Dialga early would have actually just ended the game by now. I mean, she has 2 prizes left, but even through that, she managed to come back a bit. But I'm not sure what options she has here. I think the thing she'll have to hope for is that she can go ahead. So she Emerald Slashes. Let's assume Ricky only has an attachment and a Chrono Wind next turn.
He has a Heatran in his hand as well.
She'll just need to find a way to retreat.
Yep. Yeah, even if he just ends up Chrono Winding, it's...
Well, if he ends up Chrono Winding, he can get knocked out from a G Booster.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, she does play Shadow Triad. She does have it in hand, actually, so... Might not have telegraphed it there, though, if she...
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, I guess he's already used his Megaphone, so it's unlikely that Ricky has another one. And it's possible that she needs to draw cards next turn off a supporter, so... Not terrible.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I would also attach the G Booster.
Definitely. I think you kind of have to.
Okay.
Not attaching it there is a little rough. I don't think she can be punished, right? Because I'm gonna be punished by attaching it.
Oh yeah.
Because if the thing gets knocked out, it's gonna get knocked out.
Right.
He takes nothing. I didn't see any switch cards. I think this deck mostly relies on float stones.
Yeah.
And there's the end.
Yeah, his only like switching effect I think is the Keldeo with a float stone to get the resets.
Dialga has 3 retreat, correct?
Not sure.
Oh, it only has 2, so he can actually just retreat here. Oh, he had the DCE as well.
Okay.
That's going to be game.
Nice.
Even if he hadn't had the DCE there, he could have retreated and just sent up something. Like even sent up the Bronzong to just get knocked out there. But Ricky Gao is going to come back in game 2 to advance to 5-0 here in Seattle. Pretty good games. Interesting, I think. I think Ricky played pretty tight, played out some bad situations, and Jazmyn played very cautiously, which I think ended up coming back to bite her.